In the last couple of months, there's been some things that you've come into the office.
Yes.
To help with safety and the Lytx cameras and talking to drivers. How have you found that to be beneficial to you and to the drivers?
Well, it has certainly helped educate me on more of the safety side. I have learned a lot about following distance and how to keep that following distance and how to maintain a safe and corrective driving pattern.
How have you found that safety deals on the day-to-day basis of answering the questions?
Well, I think on the day-to-day, by answering the questions, number one, it helps drivers understand exactly what we're looking for from the safety side of it. It understands what they're looking for and how they can so easily correct the small mistakes that we make as drivers every day that we're behind the wheel.
When you were a driver for SunBelt and we would talk about the cameras, did you feel like safety or operations was preaching at you, or did they come across as trying to help you?
They came across very friendly as trying to help. I didn't take it as they were trying to reteach or reinvent the wheel on driving. I just took it as they were trying to help us all reach a goal to get to the safety numbers that we're looking to get to, and everybody get home to their family safe as well.
Because of working with the cameras in the capacity that you are now.
Correct.
When you go back driving, what is it going to do for you when you go back driving?
Oh, leaps and bounds of difference. I mean, a lot of the following distance that I thought I was safe at, I'm seeing now that it's not that way. You need to allow more time, more space between you and the vehicles. You need to be more aware of your surroundings, your speed limit signs. It has definitely changed my point of view from the camera's perspective of being here to help our safety.
Do you feel when you do go back driving in the next month that it's going to help you with better behaviors?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because now I know exactly what our goals are and what we got to do to reach them. And to get there, it's very simple to correct your old driving habits. It's so easy to do. I think it can be reached relatively simply.
What advice would you give other drivers that are not familiar with the camera to be able to utilize it to the best of their advantage?
Well, you have to understand that the camera is not always necessarily a tattletale. It's also your friend. We've seen several instances already where the camera has helped save somebody's driving record from points or from an accident, and those are things that you need to take from the camera. Not that it's a disciplinary tool, but it's a tool that can help you be a better driver and a safe driver as well.
Here at SunBelt, they use the Lytx camera. What are your thoughts on the Lytx camera and using it?
Well, to tell you the truth, the Lytx camera is nice. I mean, especially whenever we need it, when we're driving. I mean, if something happens or a car runs into us, or something that isn't our fault. I mean, and it's not like that all the time. I mean, sometimes it is our fault, but it does keep us from being blamed, because I'll go down the road and I see billboards up saying, people like a lawyer called the Hammer or something along the lines of that nature, that they're going to try to take us to the cleaners. So that camera is a good defense. But what I don't agree with some companies do is they put the camera on the driver, and that's our home. I mean, if the camera is on us, then they're going to be able to see in our cabs, and that's a breach of privacy. I mean, that's what I think. These are our homes. We're riding down the road in them. We're doing our jobs in them. I mean, if a company can't trust me enough to be able to do my job and do what I'm supposed to do, I shouldn't be driving my company. But the thing is, having it out and, on the road, and having the audible, and it just helps you to drive. Having the audible sound on it, I mean, it kind of warns you, gives you a sense of awareness. But all in all, I like it. I mean, it don't bother me. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway, I mean, you don't have to worry about it.
The audible on the camera, is it telling you that you're too close to something? Is it telling you that you have left your lane? What is it telling you?
It's giving you, I guess more or less when it beeps, it's giving you like a kind of a warning sign, just to kind of be heads up. I mean, if you're getting a little bit too close, it'll ding, and then it just gives you a sense of, hey, I need to let off a little bit.
But I know that the drivers are given Lytx scores. Mm-hmm. What is your score?
4.
How is your score so low? And what are you doing to have that low score?
Well, whenever I'm coming up behind somebody, I'm counting off in my mind 3 to 4 seconds. If the car in front of me passes a sign or a yard marker or anything like that, then that keeps me to be able to stay that far behind. I count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, and then I'll pass in that length of distance, 3 to 4 seconds. Where a lot of people are falling short is when they go to pass and they increase the acceleration, they're getting too close and the camera's still picking up the car in front of them. Instead of getting over between the 3 and 4 seconds, they're getting up within the 2 second range and it's clocking them and it's recording them.
Brian, you mentioned the CSA scores and not being stopped at scales. As part of safety, they use the Lytx cameras. Do you feel the Lytx cameras also help in those CSA scores?
Oh yeah, I mean, the problem is with some of them, I mean, the drivers just don't want the cameras facing on them. They feel like they're not being trusted. They feel like that they don't have any freedom. I mean, the company that I was at, they was always attacking you for certain things. I mean, petty things. I mean, eating an apple, eating a sandwich, drinking a cup of coffee. I mean, you can't nitpick. When you nitpick, drivers, they start stressing. And the Lytx camera also helps us to be able to when it shines out and not on us, helps us to be able to defend against, you know, somebody that might run a stop sign and hit us. And it be their fault, but yet people tried to blame the big truck. It's always the big truck's fault. But yet we have a camera, we seen you run the stop sign, you hit it, you come right in the side of us, so therefore we're protected.
In working with SunBelt, you drive for an owner-operator, correct?
Yes, sir.
In that atmosphere, you have to use the Lytx camera.
Yes, sir.
What has your experience been with the Lytx camera?
At the beginning of it, everybody naturally was very hesitant. Even myself, because I'm listening to them and I'm going off of what limited knowledge I had in the trucking industry. It made me nervous, I'm not gonna lie, but now that I understand more of what I was doing, not necessarily wrong, but things that can be changed, just little tiny changes that make everything safer, makes everything well-oiled machinery, if you will. It's not as bad as I thought it was going in.
What helped you learn to use the Lytx camera?
Studying the films that, you know, were provided on the on our account when we log in, and really just paying attention more to what we see out the window. Paying attention more. It helped me realize that I was in a rush at certain times that didn't really need to be. And when you slow down, you have a lot less issues to a degree.
So slowing down helped you with your space management?
Yes, you know, I was having falling distance issues. I had a couple moving issues where I had a little incident that could have been avoided maybe by more spatial awareness and knowing what was around me. I'd lost track of it. I was in a rush. I felt rushed. Maybe I wasn't. I shouldn't have been rushed, but I felt like I was, so I was acting like I was, if that makes sense.
So you were rushing yourself. It wasn't your
More or less.
dispatch.
No,
rushing.
no, not at all. There's been no pressure from dispatch. My dispatcher says, if you want to work, I've got work for you and I will help you any way possible. And he never really sets me up for failure ever. He sets me up for home time, sets me up for, good paying loads that take care of my boss and me, backhauls taken care of before I even get done, really. No issues there.